All right. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here today. It's good to see folks on the call this morning. I'm Alex Bertolucci, the Oregon Communications Manager for Circular Action Alliance. Today, we are talking about Batch 3, the high-level overview for the public-facing website recycleon.org. As just a heads up for folks who are joining today, the webinar is focused on local governments and service providers. It might not be super relevant for some of our producer friends, so if you're here as a producer, you're welcome to stay and see what we're cooking up, but you're also welcome to drop off. And just as a reminder, we won't be able to answer any producer-focused questions during today's webinar, but we will have time for questions on this topic. I'm not a lawyer, and you can read this slide for yourself, but the quick overview is today's webinar is not legal advice, and you shouldn't use it as such, since we're talking about education and outreach. Probably isn't super relevant for today's webinar, but just in case, covering our bases there. All right, let's talk about today's agenda. Today's webinar, we are going to first do some introductions so you know who we are. You'll be meeting Bushwick, who's the team developing the website with us. Then we'll talk through the engagement process, followed by that first look at the website sitemap, and wrap up with some time for Q&A. So to keep questions organized, as always, we ask that you use the Q&A tool and not the chat to ask those questions. This just helps us better keep track of the questions that are coming in and make sure that we get those answered for you. So first, let's start with introductions so you can meet the folks who are building out the website. The Oregon team for Circular Action Alliance has been working hard to ensure Oregon's EPR system is ready to launch on July 1st, which is coming up very quickly. Since you don't get to see us in person very often, I'd just like to show faces so you know who is doing this work. I'm joined today by Jerry Morales, which is he's Oregon's bilingual communications specialist. If you have any questions, you need more clarity on a topic, feel free to reach out to our team. You can find their contact information at circularaction.org, circularactionalliance.org/Oregon. And Jerry's going to drop our general email address in the chat. You can use this email address to get your Oregon-specific questions answered. I'm going to turn it over to Bushwick so they can introduce who they are.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Torres. I'm the Director of Client Success at Bushwick Digital. Marcela, it's one of our colleagues. She's also on the call. She's an Associate Project Manager. And we also have Chase, who unfortunately is not able to be here today, but he's the founder and creative and strategy director at Bushwick Digital. So we're a boutique creative agency that was founded in 2014 in Brooklyn, New York. We're a small team of designers, strategists, and developers. We partner with a lot of different organizations of all sizes, different agencies, brands, and nonprofits to build great digital products and experiences. Since our founding, we have worked, designed, and developed on over 150 custom websites for different clients like Everytown for Gun Safety, Freelancers Union, LA County, the Walmart Foundation, and many others. We have direct experience in the waste reduction, recycling, and sustainability space. We work with Carton Council and have worked with Tetra Pak and resource recycling systems. So that has given us a lot of insight into some of the challenges that you're currently facing. So very excited to be here and working on this.
Excellent. Thank you, Jessica. All right. Now, as always, we just want to see who's here and say hello. So if you can use the chat to tell us your name, organization, and your favorite thing about spring, because right now the weather in Oregon seems to be pretty darn beautiful, and all these flowers popping up around the state are making me really happy. So I just want to hear what's bringing you joy this spring. Laura, I see that you said hello already, and seems like it's sunny down there in Southern Oregon. So glad to hear that. It's pretty sunny up here in Portland today as well. Got some folks from Metro and Washington County, more flowers, the lilacs, that's great. Oh, tulips. Oh, everybody's bringing those flowers and the beautiful weather. Denise, Elizabeth, welcome. Oh, bumblebees, that's a good one. Yeah, get those pollinators back out into the world. So awesome. Yeah, keep those coming. We'll keep moving along here. All right. So here we have the high. Oh, well, let me just switch over to the next slide. There we are. Here we have the high-level overview of the phases of CA's E&O engagement process as outlined in our program plan. This helps illustrate and highlight the message from DEQ that the first program plan will be a time for continued consultation between CAA and interested parties. As we've mentioned before, this effort isn't a light switch. It's going to be like a dial being turned on. So there'll be enrolling phases that will build off of each other by providing new information, but also tweaking, reforming, and being able to give different audiences what they need to meet them where they are. The other batches of E&O materials are already showing how this works. We release the materials, gather some feedback, and make adjustments. Over time, we'll continue to make those updates and focus on that continuous improvement. As a reminder, there's various channels to this work, including digital and non-digital. And we're developing these as part of that education campaign. This allows CAA and all of you to reach communities in ways that are available to them. Today, we're focusing on the areas in the middle of the Venn diagram where the instructional and the motivational campaigns overlap with the public-facing website recycleon.org. Today, you will see the schedule for all E&O batches. Batch 1, A, and B are complete and finalized with the materials launched and available for download, which is very exciting, that first big milestone. So thanks to everybody who gave us that feedback and has already started downloading those materials. Batch 2 and 4, which we reviewed in the last webinar, have gone through the review process, and we're working to incorporate all that great feedback and finalize those materials. Batch 2 is planned to be released in mid-May, and Batch 4, which are the statewide ads, will start to be released around August. Today, we're focused on that Batch 3, the website. So we'll open the feedback survey at the end of today's webinar and send an email with the recording of this webinar and a survey link to our list of E&O contacts, most likely tomorrow, making sure everything gets uploaded first. And the survey is pretty tight this time, and it closes April 21st. Here's a closer look at the different batches of materials and what they include. And you can see that that batch 1 material is already completed and live. And again, we're going to focus on batch 3 today, that public-facing website. In this website, we'll discuss the changing system, share some of those benefits, and help community members navigate the changes with helpful tools and information. So now let's get to the exciting part of today's webinar, actually seeing some of those new materials. But before we get there, let's talk about the timeline really quick for these. The timeline and review process looks a bit different for the website than it did for some of those other batches because of a shortened completion window and the inability to build a website, show it to you all, and then make all of those edits. That just takes a lot of time and energy and money to do that. So we're going to show sitemaps today. And that's kind of the foundation that the website will be built from. And so that's what we're going to get feedback on today. And you can see that today's the start of that review period. The feedback survey will close on April 21st. And the website is looking to launch in June. As with all of the materials, there will be opportunities for ongoing feedback and improvements as we work through the program. We'll share the website sitemaps here in just a second. We'll turn it over to Bushwick to walk through those. These are what the website navigation will look like and how the pages will be set up. However, we won't see actual websites like I mentioned. That'll come later after we build this foundation. We did want to remind folks about the Recycle On brand because the website will be designed in accordance with the brand guidelines, which are very similar to those that were released in the Batch 1 materials inside the Recycle On Oregon Community Education and Outreach Playbook. If you're looking to get a refresher, you can check there. So just as a reminder, the mission of Recycle On and the goal of the website is to make recycling easier and more effective by providing clear guidance and meaningful support so that all can participate in a trusted system that works. We'll adopt a friendly, approachable, and helpful tone that creates a reliable, trusted, and empathetic tool. Overall, we hope to encourage people to participate in making a better recycling program in Oregon. I'll now turn it over to the Bushwick team, and they can walk through this in a little more depth.
Awesome. Yeah. So before we show you the visual sitemap, I wanted to kind of walk you through our approach to the sitemap. So the first thing being that it's user-driven navigation. So the sitemap is structured around clear visitor pathways to learn more about recycling, the program, or find resources in their state. So there's visitors that are going to be wanting to find resources, or visitors that are going to be wanting to find just education materials. And once I show you this visual sitemap, you'll be able to see all of those different pathways. There's also going to be shared educational content. You'll see in a second there are different pages like why recycle and what is EPR. Those are all there to help educate the public and foster better recycling habits, no matter in which US state they live in. We know EPR is not available in every state, but we still want to have a site where people can come in here and find the resources that they need. There's going to be state-specific utility. So for those states where there is EPR, we're going to have dedicated portals. We're going to be starting with Oregon, of course. And this is going to guide the visitors to all the recycling tools and the resources that are the most relevant to them. We're going to have built-in trust signals. So you'll see we have a mission page. We're going to have staff directories and resources. This is all going to help establish that credibility to help build trust with both users and partners. And then this is also built for scalability. We know that we're starting with Oregon, but there's going to be more states coming in, like Colorado. So we want to build reusable page templates that are going to make it easier for those new states to come on board, and not just to launch, but keep the maintenance and the management of those pages easy going forward. So this is the high level sitemap overview. In a second, I'll share my screen and we'll be able to go zoom in on all of this. But the main thing that I want you to focus on is everything that you see on the left, those 4 pages, plus the homepage. That's all going to be on the main recycle.org site. And then everything that you see on the right, that's all related to the specific Oregon pages. So this is just zooming in into what's going to be in those specific and on the recycling.org general site. So we have the homepage, and you can see there's going to be a small intro about what Recycle On is. For launch, we're going to have something specific about Oregon so that people know that's the first state where this program is launching. And then at the bottom, we're going to have the latest. These are going to be related to all of the news, announcements, anything that you want to add there, blog posts, that will go there. Then we have the other 4 pages. The first one being why recycle. This is going to include sections like Recycle 101, how recycling works, some of those resources. We have our mission, which is going to establish the mission for recycling.org. And then who we are, whether that's people or the different organizations. And then we also have a what is EPR page that we feel is important. It's not everyone's going to know what this is. So in this page, we're going to tell them what is EPR, where is it, and what happens to their recycling. And then lastly, we have the latest page. That's going to have, like I mentioned, general news about recycling or state-specific news as well. Then we go into Oregon. So this will be the one that you see at the top, what will be like the Oregon landing page. And what you see at the bottom will be the different pages that are going to be under it. On the homepage, you see there's also going to be a brief intro about recycling in Oregon. What can I recycle? That's content that's still to be determined, but we know we want to have a section around that. Then there's going to be a section where people are going to be able to add their address. This is related to the recycling depot locator. Then we have some Oregon portal links. So in there, the idea is that we're going to have the four main links that we want people to click into once they land on this page, whether that's the recycling depot locator, resources, the waste hauler directory, whatever that might be. But those most important links should be there. Rollout timelines, and then, of course, Oregon specific future news. And then these are the pages that would go under Oregon. So the idea is, and I'll show you this quickly as well once we go into the visual, the other sitemap. But these are pages, like I mentioned, that are going to be templates. The idea is that we can replicate this around all of the other states that are going to be coming on board later on. So we start with who we are. Um, that's going to have, again, some brief intro about recycling in Oregon, just an overview, then the staff directory. And then at the bottom of all of these pages, you'll also see that we're going to include the 2 or 3 most recent feature news to keep some of that content fresh so that people can navigate around the site. Then we have the recycling depot locator, we have the waste hauler directory, the resources. So anything that could be PDFs, links to other websites that might be relevant to people. So it doesn't necessarily need to be resources that are created by you, but just resources that you think are going to be helpful for users. State news, um, when we have the disability access request form, and then the landing page template. So we know there's going to be different campaigns that might need to be created for these. And also, because you're going to be running ads, so you might want to have people landing specifically in this page to take some specific action, whether that's signing up in a specific form or watching a video or donating. It could be done for many different call to actions, but the idea is that you have that template already built in for all of these different campaigns.
Excellent. So yeah, that was the quick overview. I'm gonna stop sharing, and Jessica,
Yes,
you can
and
take
this
over.
shouldn't take long, but here, let me share my screen. So this is basically the sitemap that you already saw in the presentation. What I wanted to share here is that this is what it's going to be like at launch. But the main difference is once we have other states come on board, you'll see this section here that was for launch is going to be dedicated to Oregon. This is going to be recycling in your state so that people can quickly see all the different states where this is implemented, and then can click on those specific state pages. And if their state is not listed, the idea is that there's also some information or resources somewhere we can also direct them to, so that they're not just there wondering, okay, if this is not available in my state, what can I do? Um, and so these all I already went through, but I just wanted to reiterate the idea is that these are all going to be reusable page templates for all of those future states that are going to be coming on board. That is it.
Can Jessica, can you hear me still?
Yes, I can.
Okay. My Zoom is freezing and hasn't responded.
Yeah.
So, we're having I can't really share right now or see anything. Uh, um,
I can share if you can you see Zoom or is it frozen? Because I can share.
yeah, I think I can see it. Yeah, if you have the
Let
PowerPoint
me
and can
share.
share that.
Yeah, of course. 1 sec. It should be.
And Jessica, while you're trying to get that up, I can kind of talk through these next steps. First of all, thanks for sharing that with us and kind of walking through the sitemap there. It gives us a pretty good understanding of how the website will be laid out. So then we want to talk about some of those next steps. Uh, so I'll just talk through this. We can kind of
Can
go.
you see my screen?
You know what?
I cannot, Jessica.
You can't?
I can't. No, it's a black screen.
Oh, interesting.
I can see it there, yeah, but then
Can you see it here?
yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Oh,
I don't know if you can see it, Alex, but I'm on that recycle on batch tree feedback survey.
okay, great. Yeah, I can't see it, so we'll just kind of fly blind here for a minute. So the feedback survey is now live, and Jerry will drop a link to that in the chat. The survey includes the links to the sitemap that Bushwick just reviewed with us, so you can take a closer look and kind of zoom around in there, see how that layout works. For folks who weren't able to attend today's webinar, or if you know somebody who already had something in the way of today's webinar, we'll be posting the recording of this to CAA's website, as well as sending that and the survey out in an email, hopefully tomorrow after everything gets posted. As a reminder, the survey is due no later than Monday, the 21st, before 11:59 p.m. Go to that next slide there, Jessica.
Yep.
So switching gears just really quickly, I wanted to let folks know about the pre-registration is now open for E&O contacts for the Education and Outreach portal. And this is the portal where you'll be able to access all of the educational materials. This pre-registration allows CAA and TRP the ability to speed up the registration process once.
Nope. And I think he might have disconnected.
Yeah, I feel lost, Alex.
Yeah, but I can take over.
Okay.
So to pre-register, you can please visit recycleon.com. I'm dropping the website in the chat so you can all have it. The temporary website we're using to host materials before the ENO portal launches, and click on the button at the top of the page where it will say to access the survey, and please fill it out. It will just help us speed up the process in getting everybody registered. So thank you again to everyone who joined today's webinar, and we'll provide feedback during the process. We look forward to your input. Now we can go ahead and pause the recording, and we can get ready for the Q&A portion of the webinar. I think Alex might be back.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
We're in the Q&A.